If you're tuning in for the first time, do remember to tell us your name as well as a stock that you'd like to know about, and of course the time frame, whether it's a short-term query or a long-term one. The first question that we're taking today is from Rahul. Rahul's writing in from Pune. Oh, by the way, let me introduce my second guest. We've got Rajesh Agarwal as well joining. And Rajesh, good morning to you. Kunal, this one's for you though. He's asking about the Bank Nifty. Over the last couple of sessions, it has underperformed a tad bit, but he's looking at zooming out just a tad bit more, and he's looking at the next big event, which is the Monetary Policy Committee's decision on rates. And he's asking what the levels are that you would look for with regard to the Bank Nifty.
So I would believe that banking stocks should continue to do well. So, the market has a tendency to price in, the data points and specifically the events. Only the, uncertain events and the ones which come out all of a sudden are the ones which the markets generally don't factor in. But once the market sets into a trajectory, the events get factored in, and once that happens, we see the prices moving already ahead before the kind of critical event. So when you look at the last 2 weeks of price performance, Bank Nifty outperforming, being more resilient, many banking names starting to get into a breakout mode. That's generally an indication that the index would move up higher, at least till the RBI policy event. So I believe in that regards, you can expect that the markets or the banking index should move up higher. I think on a very broader term basis, I would probably believe that 36,500, 36,800 could be an immediate target on the banking index, which should be almost 700 to 800 points upside from current levels.
Okay, so then I'll add to that, because Jagdish is also asking about the Bank Nifty and is asking whether he can buy a call at 36,000. Based on what you said, is that a good idea?
Well, yeah, I think if you're looking at 36,000, I would suggest that don't look at the 2nd June expiry. Possibly look at the next week expiry, which is 9th June. That's the weekly options. That would be a better trade for the banking index.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on that. But Rajesh, coming to you, we have a query coming in from Natrajan. Now, they are asking about Kajaria Ceramics. They're holding 150 shares at around 1,085 rupees per share. 1 to 2 year time period they have, holding period. How is the stock looking like? Is it a good time to enter this?
Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Alex. Kajaria Ceramics is one of the market leaders, I would say, in the ceramic industry. The company is doing well. The numbers have been good. Balance sheet is strong. The only problem point with this stock is low liquidity. But since the investor is looking for a time horizon of 1 to 2 years, I don't think liquidity would be an issue for him. He can add to his portfolio.
There are a lot of questions on the indices at the broader level, so let me get that out of the way. Kunal from Mumbai, Kunal Thakkar is writing in, and Kunal, this is for you. He's asking about the Nifty 50. Based on today's recovery, and if we can pull up the intraday chart of the Nifty 50, we'll know what Kunal is talking about. From the low point of the day, you've had quite a sharp recovery, Kunal. So he's asking, based on that move, can he look at 17,000 for June 2nd expiry? Is that something of a possibility?
Well, that would be a bit far-fetched. Today's high and yesterday's high, when we look at the index on spot levels, is almost exactly the same. I think 16,670 or thereabouts is the highs for both of the days, which means that the markets are trying to find a bit of a mild resistance or a hurdle at this point. But then when we look at the internals are quite strong enough, which means that the indices would consolidate for a couple of days, and then you would probably see the index breaking out of this mild consolidation. So not for the 2nd June expiry, but possibly for the 9th June expiry, maybe a 16,800 call option could actually turn out to be a better bet.
Okay, Rajesh, coming to you, we have a query coming in from Prashant. They are holding 90 shares of Amara Raja Batteries at 738 for the last 1 year. Now, as a long-term investor, what is the worth of holding this share for the next 3 to 4 years? Or, should they be looking at averaging it any time further as well?
See, averaging at this point of time, I won't recommend, because there are a lot of issues with auto sector where they are major OEM suppliers. But since the company management is very strong, the numbers have been quite good in the recent past. Only the 1 or 2 quarters there has been a bad numbers. But what I think is when revival in auto takes place, this company is going to do very well. On valuation parameters, it's looking better than its peer groups. So one can continue to hold. Adding more, I would suggest wait for some more numbers to come in the next quarter or so, and the numbers improve, then one could add. But at this point of time, whatever you are holding, hold.
Back to you on this next one, Rajesh. This is on CAMS, and we've got a viewer who's, he's asked this question several times, but I'm taking it today. Rishi, thanks so much for your patience. He's bought at levels of 3,388, and he's been holding since 2021, I believe. And he's asking on the fundamentals, would you suggest a hold for the long term?
See, for a long term, it can be a hold. The kind of run-up it saw in the past, that won't be replicated very soon, but still the numbers have been good. It's one of the largest RTA with mutual fund industry doing very well. I think the numbers are going to be better in the coming days. So one can continue to hold for a longer term horizon.
Okay, next query is on Astral Poly. Now, Kunal, this one is for you. Ajay wants to know an entry point for Astral Poly, short-term view of around 3 to 6 months. What would you suggest there?
So I think the indicators are fairly oversold, even at current levels of 17, 20, 23 for Astral. And when I look at it from the divergence from the long-term average, which is at 2,100 level, the stock is quite some distance away from its longer-term average. So risk reward from an indicator front, from a divergent front, indicates that there should be, over the next 2 to 3 months, at least a 10 to 15% kind of a rally for the stock, even if it's a bounce as such from the larger scheme of things. So you should play for this bounce. 1720 is the current level where you can look to buy, and probably around 1900, 1950 is where you can look at a nominal target for the stock.
Kunal, First Source Solutions is the name of the next counter we're looking at. Shashank is asking this question, and he's bought at levels of 177. He's bought a large quantity, 1,000 shares. He's asking if he should hold or should he average at this juncture?
Well, it's a tough one because, the stock has gone through a very sharp correction. Now, we've seen many of these mid-cap IT names getting into a sharp corrective mode. Typically, when a correction halts closer to 40%, 50%, we say that it's an average, correction. It's more like a mean reversion for, stock prices. But for, First Source Solutions, the stock has corrected more than 50%. I think 240 to 45 was the previous year high for the stock. And the recent low was around 100 mark or slightly lower than that. So that indicates that the correction has been more than 50%, 60% for the stock price. And that generally indicate that there is a drastic change into the stock price trend. So I would suggest not to buy at current levels. Wait out for a period of maybe a couple of months. Let the stock consolidate at this 100-odd mark. Possibly when the next move starts off and the stock crosses 140 mark, that could be a point where you can look to start averaging, not suggesting to buy on dips.
Okay, next query we have is on Tanla Platforms. Vishal wants to know, Rajesh, about entering Tanla Platforms at current levels with a 1 to 2 year view time horizon, and Vishal is messaging us from Dubai.
Yeah, I don't think it's a right time to enter some of the mid-cap names which have run up quite a lot and looks very attractive at these points. But when you are getting Tech Mahindra or Infosys or TCS 40, 50%, 30% discount from a recent high, why not go for them? I would suggest buy Tech Mahindra at this point of time. That looks more attractive than Tanla.
The next question is also for you, Rajesh, and this is on the paper stocks. We've got Mr. Parsi who's writing in from Bengaluru, and he's identified 3: Andhra, TNPL and West Coast Paper. And he's wondering whether he can get into one of them, which is the most stable in terms of earnings and potential for the next couple of years.
See, although all 3 are good companies, just because I have to pick one of them, I would go with West Coast Paper. It has got a large capacity of 320,000 metric tons, and plus it has 75% holding in Andhra Paper. So if you're buying West Coast, you are indirectly buying Andhra too. So that means 2 of your picks are coming to you. And now the numbers have been good. Has been performing very well. Expansion has been done. They have their own forestry and own pulping plant. So there are no issues on raw material side also. And being near to the ports, the logistics is also not an issue. So West Coast fits the bill.
Okay. Kunal, next query is coming in for you. We have a query on Bandhan Bank. Now, when I'm looking at the charts, last 1 week, surely Bandhan Bank is up by 6%. But Nikhil wants to know that for a short-term view, what is it coming on Bandhan Bank? Should they be looking to enter Bandhan Bank at these levels?
Well, I would suggest to either buy the stock or hold the stock depending on your existing stance. In fact, last week also I think on Bandhan Bank I'd maintained a buy stance. My target was closer to 330, 335 from a week perspective. But then if you're looking at the stock and trying to hold the stock for maybe a couple of weeks, and assuming if the Bank Nifty continues to outperform the way it has shown over the last 1 to 2 weeks, then I believe possibly Bandhan Bank can even come back towards the previous major high of 345, 350. So the targets can be revised on the upside, and if you're looking to buy at current levels, 345 plus could be an immediate target.
Okay, I'm coming back to you, Kunal, on this, and I guess you'll want to caveat your answer. We've got Shilpa from Mumbai. She says that she wants to invest in a few blue chip companies for the long term for around 7 to 8 years, which are looking attractive based on the current market price. I'm guessing your caveat will involve keeping a check on these on a periodic basis.
Well, yeah, of course, you have to keep a check on periodic basis. But I think if you're starting off as such and have a longer term time horizon, given the state of the market, I think it makes a lot of sense to have a more, have tilt as well as more bent towards the large cap names, because there are plethora of large cap stocks and quality large cap names which are at a decent discount for themselves, and with a longer term kind of a time horizon, there is all the more higher probability that these stocks can make a strong and a solid comeback sooner than later. So we keep on talking about the IT stocks as well as the banking names. So yes, these stocks, they look very attractive to me, but even the likes of Bajaj Finance, Finserv, from a longer term play look very attractive. These stocks have corrected more than I think 30%, 35% from their 52-week highs for themselves. You can look at the auto pack, and I think M&M and Maruti, even from current levels, holds a lot of potential on the upside. IT stocks like Infosys, TCS and HCL Tech, you can pick and choose maybe a couple of names from this pack as well. And from the banking pack, we go with the traditional names, the likes of HDFC Bank as well as SBI are the two strong names which you can look to buy the stocks. And if you want to add and diversify, you can look at the rest of the private sector banks as well.
Okay. Rajesh, coming to you, we have the next query coming in from Santosh Kumar, and this one is on Titan. They want to know whether they can enter Titan at current levels with a 1-year target, and if not, is there any other stock you would suggest in the sector with a 1-year holding period?
See, at this point of time, Titan valuation looks very stretched despite the fact that it has corrected. Company is very good. Got a good brand, they have got a retail chain, a whole lot of business coming from gold, and as gold prices go higher, they are bound to gain. I would say wait for some time, for some correction, more correction to enter into Titan. As far as other good names in this sector, I would say you can, although not very much comparable in this sector, other companies are not that good to enter. Somebody wants to play into a jewelry or a watch business, Titan is the only one. But if you can look at other retail chains, Trent would be a better buy.
Adani Enterprises is the name of the counter we're looking at next. Ayush is asking about the short-term prospects, and he's bought at levels of 2260, which is higher than the market price. And Kunal, this is a stock that is trading off its 52-week high, but still, as I can see it, above its key moving averages. What is the short-term view on it?
Yeah, I think for a stock which has done 10x in the last 3-4 years, correcting by 10% is just a very small kind of a correction for such kind of stocks. So it's done exceptionally well, no two doubts about it. I think Adani Enterprise is also making its way to Nifty 50, replacing Shree Cement. So that's also going to likely play a good advantage to the stock over the near to medium term, and that could probably keep the stock prospects a bit more buoyant. So I would believe that if you've bought at high levels, which is slight higher levels from current zone, you can continue to hold on.
Kunal, I'm going to come to you again. We have a technical query coming in. Rancho Gupta now wants to know whether they should buy L&T call 1660 as it is given a breakout above 1657 pivot is what they're highlighting, or should they be buying a put option at 1620 as per that gap and the candlestick that they're looking at currently?
So I think my sense is that the viewer is asking about buying call or selling the put rather than buying the put, because that gap which was created would have actually now become a support for L&T. So I think both the strategies indicate one and the same. If you're buying a call also, that means bullish. If you're selling a put, which means you're not bearish on the stock price and you're expecting the stock to hold up to those levels. Now it depends on the risk appetite, the strategy which you're lacking. If you are an individual who wants to eat the premium as such, then I think writing the put of 1620 mark for L&T could also turn out to be a good bet. My sense is that the markets may not claw back significantly below the 16,400, 500 mark. That could be the best retracement zone which we can look out for. And I think if that happens, even stocks like L&T can probably find some good support about the 1620 mark. So both the strategies could be good enough. Possibly from a very short-term view, you can expect that the stock may consolidate. So maybe writing a put option at current levels could be a good strategy. But once that consolidation pans out for 2-3 days, then you can start buying maybe 1660 call option for L&T.
Okay. The next question is an interesting one. Actually, I think we've taken it in the past sessions as well. But let's talk about HDFC and HDFC Bank. We've got Gopinath R, who's holding on to both. He's been holding for 3 years. HDFC Bank, he has bought at levels of 1223 and HDFC bought at 2217. Now, the questions for you, Rajesh. He's asking about the potential merger, which again is seemingly not anytime soon, right? It's something that will pan out over a period of time. And he's asking what his strategy should be in the run-up to that. Should he hold on? Should he keep building onto his positions?
You said it right, Alex. It's not going to happen in the near future. The management has clearly indicated that the potential estimated target would be around December 2023. That's almost 18 months down the line. So a lot of things, a lot of market happenings might happen in that period of time. As far as my personal experience says that whenever a merger is announced, no major movement is seen in the prices of the stocks concerned. But still, on valuation parameter, HDFC Bank and HDFC both look very good. HDFC Bank is consistently performing every quarter with around 20%, average 20% growth. So I don't think holding on for a longer period of time would be any harm. But adding more to that at this point of time, I would say go for ICICI Bank or Axis Bank, where the potential of return is better.
Okay, so with that, Rajesh as well as Kunal, just stay with us because we'll take a short break, but stay tuned in because we'll be back with your queries on the other side as well.
Nikunj, you are a very seasoned market observer and therefore you may hit the nail on the head.
I think you have always kept the focus on the retail investor, and I think it's again a very apt, very good question.
Nikunj, first of all, thank you so much. You are one person I've always enjoyed interacting throughout last 15-20 years.
The problem on coming on your channel is that you already know everything. I just heard your introduction. And what can anybody add to that?
Stock markets is a numbers game, and it sometimes does come across as one-dimensional. But what people don't see is that these numbers, when strung together, tell a story. There's no really black or white. It very much seems to be a work in progress of triumphs and mistakes, greed and fear. And I bring you that story behind the numbers in action.
The personal finance show that helps you achieve all your financial dreams.
This show gets you everything that you need to know about your money, how to earn more, invest smartly, and spend while getting the best bang for your buck.
From the perfect home to early retirement and everything in between.
Real estate, everyone knows, is an asset that Indians absolutely love, maybe even more than gold.
Join us every weekday at 5 p.m. on the ET Money Show. Investment made easy, only on ET Now.
With each passing day, this market is becoming better, and with each passing day, this market is only telling you that if you've participated on every decline, you've actually made money.
ITC's credo is nation first,
सब साथ बढ़े. I would like to live this philosophy in whatever business we do.
We continue to be very well diversified across product lines. The general health of the company continues to be very strong.
We are a publicly listed company. We have access to capital. We have great brands.
No, beautiful question. Yeah, I can tell you, we believe that we'll be able to reduce costs.
ET is one of my favorites in the world. I'm a fan.
This is a very insightful question that you asked, Nikunj, and almost seems like you were listening in on the deliberation the committee was doing. And you're absolutely right.
But if this cup of coffee is costing you 25 rupees right now, after 5 years, it may cost you 100 rupees. Predicting the market or predicting the short-term move in the market, well, that's always very easy. Predicting it right and making money, it's not impossible. It could be a challenge.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now, and we are continuing to take viewer queries. So if you're tuned in, make sure you send us your query on any one of our social media platforms or indeed on the WhatsApp number. Now, in India Nippon Electricals, Kunal, if you have a view on this, we've got a viewer who's Sushil Kumar, who's writing in from Trichy in Tamil Nadu. He's got at levels of 494, if I'm not mistaken, and he's bought 160 shares of this counter. What's the view on the charts?
Well, I don't track the stock that often, but then, looking at the chart prospect, it's not a liquid name as such. I think today's volume itself is just about some 7,500 shares on the NSE for this counter, and I think it's at 394 odd levels for itself. So I would suggest to avoid the stock even if you bought at higher levels. I believe any rallies which you get, say closer to 420, 425 odd mark for this stock is a good rally where you can look to exit.
Okay. Kunal, actually I'm going to come to you again. We have the next query coming in on Radico Khaitan, and this is from Harish Kumar, who's from Bangalore. Wants to know, is it they're holding Radico Khaitan currently at around 1,000 rupees per share. Can they expect more profit? Should they be looking to average? What is the technical view and chart looking like for Radico Khaitan?
So yeah, I think the stock has done exceptionally well on a longer term basis. Now, Radico has also gone through a 30% plus correction in the last 6-7 months for itself. But then when I try and compare this with the other peer names, the likes of United Spirits, Global Spirit, etc., I believe that the prospect for these stocks are almost one and the same. So it makes a lot of sense to have slight diversification over here. If you're looking to park money on Radico, I would probably suggest that look at even Global Spirits as well as United Spirits. I think these stocks as well, they look very attractive, and both of these stocks are top quality names in that sector as well. So I would suggest that you can go ahead with the stock Radico, but then add up maybe Global Spirit as well as United Spirits as well.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you, Kunal, in this next one. We've got Gujarat Alkalis. And this is a question coming in from Puneet. He's bought at levels of 900. He's looking for a short-term view on this counter. So what should he do?
See, I think you're already, the stock is already down some 10% from your purchase price. It's at 828, 830. The only good part when I look at the chart is it's holding up its 200 DMA for last 6-7 months. So even in this last 1 month, 2 months of the market volatility, the stock had not broken its major support levels. The buying pattern is also quite strong. The only thing which I'm concerned about is the lack of volumes for stock prices, because the last 4-5 days when the market and the mid cap end of the stock of the markets have improved, the stock has actually seen a drop in volumes. So unless the volumes kick up for stocks, I would expect that the stock would remain into a consolidation. But if volumes kick up, the stock can come back to your buy price quite quickly.
Rajesh, coming to you for the next one, we have a query from KR Balan, and this is on All Cargo Logistics as well as Colte Patil. Now, they are holding these two stocks. Both of them are making a loss for them, and so they're asking whether they should sell these stocks and buy a City Union Bank or continue to hold them.
See, I think one can switch to City Union Bank, which is a better name, fundamentally on a sound footing, doing very well. It's a South-based bank with major portfolio coming from gold loans and all those things. A very conservative bank with asset quality on a strong footing. I think it's better to switch to City Union Bank.
This next one's for you, Kunal, and I will also take this to Rajesh, but Anjali is writing in about Crompton Consumer. She had bought a May future at 386 and she held on to it, is what I am understanding. It's currently at 360. I believe in the interim it fell to 330 as well. She's asking Kunal what the view is, and then Rajesh, I'll come to you on the fundamentals.
So I think it looks attractive. Now, even though the stock has bounced off from its recent lows, correction also has been very sharp, but then the longer term patterns are quite attractive, and it indicates that the trend should resume for Crompton Consumers over the medium to long term. The only catch or a concern is how much extent of time the stock can take, because we've already rolled over to one expiry, which is from May to June. I would probably expect that you may have to roll over to maybe one more series for the stock to come back to your cost price and come back into profit as well. So I would suggest to hold as of now.
Okay, Rajesh, I'm coming to you on the fundamentals. That's the view on the technicals, roll over into one more series. But on the fundamentals, how does this stock look?
See, this stock looks very attractive. Of the kind of corporate restructuring that took place, I think it has a great potential going forward. But since if one looks at fundamentals, I won't suggest somebody to continue in a FNO position, because it will take much longer time to give you a good amount of return. So maybe if you can convert that quantity to cash, that would be a better strategy. Depends on your choice, but numbers are very good. The company is doing very well. The management commentary has been very strong. And if I look at the peer group companies like Havells or a Polycab, I find a lot of potential in this company. So it's a buy from my side, I would say.
Okay. Kunal, the next query is coming in for you. We have a query coming in on L&T Finance Holding. Dheeraj Bhagwan wants to know that, what should they be doing with the share? They are holding 600 shares at 88 rupees per share. Should they continue to hold the share, average the share? What is it looking like on terms of charts?
See, I'm extremely bullish on L&T Finance, and I think it's a much better strategies. Use those points of panic when the stock gets into a sharp corrective phase as a very good averaging opportunity. So if you've bought at 88 plus levels for L&T Finance, I think closer to 70 to 73 should be a good level where you can look to average. The stock is now at 76, 77. So you may maybe wait for a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks. But if the stock comes back closer to 72 mark, that should be a point where you can look to average, bring your cost price under 80. And I think that's where you would probably have an advantage of getting into good profits once the stock starts to get into an uptrend.
Okay. Let's speed things up just a tad bit, gentlemen. We've got a few questions that we'd like to take, another couple of minutes of queries. The first one, Prashant is asking Kunal, Honeywell Auto bought at levels of 45,000. He's asking if we should average the stock at this point.
I would suggest not to average at current levels. The stock still looks to be in a downward trend. It could get back into one more round of selling pressure. That could be a point where you can look to average.
Rajesh, the next one is for you. We have Indu, who's bought Gujarat Ambuja Exports at around 300 rupees per share. The range is around there. They made some profits over there. Is it a good time to add more for a long term? What is your view there?
See, adding more would be suggested, but one can continue to hold. The numbers have been good. I think one can continue to hold.
One more question and then we'll go to rapid fire. This one's for you, Rajesh. Nykaa, we just had the results yesterday. Shravan from Hyderabad is asking whether it can be bought right now for the next 2 to 3 years.
We bought, the numbers have been tad below expectation, but going by the management commentary and the kind of offline presence they are having, I think one can continue holding to the stock, even one can add.
Okay, now let's just start our rapid fire round quickly. And Kunal, I'm going to start with you. We have a query coming in for DMart. Is it the right time to enter DMart? This query is from Ram.
Absolutely, I would agree, and I think it's a good price where you can look to start buying, provided your time horizon is medium to long term.
What's the view on Puravankara? I believe we've got a view of Vishal, who's bought at levels of 100.
So again, interesting buy. At 95 levels looks very attractive. I would suggest to average.
Okay, Rajesh, next one is for you. We have a query coming in from Samir, who's bought Polyplex Corporation at an average price of around 2,204 rupees. With a long-term view, what should they be doing with it? Buy, average?
One can buy. It's a very good company, giving dividends every quarter, doing very well. Expansions are all in place. It's a buy.
Rajesh, Apollo Hospital's been bruised and battered, but we've got a viewer, Narayan, who's bought at levels of 4,675. What should he do on the fundamentals?
It's a buy at this point of time with 10,000 beds at 80 different locations, and valuations have become extremely attractive after the correction. It's a buy.
Kunal, next one is Motherson Sumi, and Vivek has bought in this. They are currently making a bit of a loss there. Is it the right time to average it? They have 200 shares.
I would suggest no, not a good time to average. Let the stock correct further and come below 120 mark. That could be a point where you can to average.
Sun Pharma in focus today on account of earnings, but this is a short-term view. Rajeshwari is asking at the current market price can be entered for the next 6 months.
I would suggest an avoid.
Rajesh, next one query is from Vikas. They want to know, is it a good price and good time to enter Prince Pipes?
Of course, one can buy. The numbers have been good. It's doing very well. I think the correction is giving an opportunity to enter. One can buy.
Mahindra & Mahindra in focus on account of several reasons, earnings as well as the electric vehicle launch that is upcoming. We've got Neha from Mumbai who's bought at levels of 855. How long should you hold it is the question, Rajesh.
How long is a difficult question, because we are very bullish on this stock and we have recommended our clients for 2-3 years down the line. We have a price target of 1400 plus in the next 3 quarters or so. So one can continue to hold and add on declines.
Okay, and that was the last query for today. Thank you so much, Rajesh, as well as Kunal, for joining in with us and giving us your views and solving our viewer queries as well. But with that, let's just slip into a very short break, but stay tuned in because we'll be back with more on the other side.
नमस्ते बेटे।
हाँ जी
See, Nikunj, you're a very seasoned market observer, and therefore